traveling the ethereal plane has become second nature for you now. You have faced its dangers and risen victorious time and time again. However, you do not forget the feeling of anxiety when you were first thrust into this adventitious terrain. The same anxiety mixed with a form of courage you had not always had as you marched your way through caverns and tunnels. You were told to look for a curtain of vaporous red. The cryptic nature of this description did not help your unease, giving you reason to pour extra energy into being more attentive to your surroundings. The longer you traveled, the more wary you became. Still, you traveled far, unscathed, and nary a tale to tell. Lo and behold, you found what could only be described as a curtain. And sure enough, it was red and vaporous. So much for the abstruse information, though it did stand out as odd in your rocky surrounds. Still cautious, of course, you took your time and used care to pull this curtain aside and stepped through. A single step seemed to take a while, as if a journey were taken in a single simple bound, and the sight before you was awe-inspiring, the sweltering heat causing sudden perspiring. You are now in the elemental plane of fire. Stretching as far as the eyes can see is a range of mountains and volcanoes, bursting with activity, and right before you stands a bridge to an enormous fortress made of bronze. A small guardhouse sitting on the right. As you take in your surroundings and debate removing your armor, quickly becoming sticky and uncomfortable, a short dwarf-like creature steps out from the house. Its hair and beard aflame. No, made of flame. And its eyes, too. Its muscular bronze body sculpted to perfection, it walks towards you with extreme calm. A hammer in hand that looks as fit for fighting as it does for smithing. These strangers must be brave for stepping into the fortress lands of the Azers. What brings them here? It says in a rare tongue. You step forward, raising your arm, a glittering crimson gem revealed in the palm of your hand. You hope these instructions were at least as clear and concise as the curtain turned out to be. Judging by the sudden change in expression on this creature's face, its eyes would have lit up, if they could any further. Payment accepted, it simply states. It softly lifts the gem from your hand, and you sense a twinge of eagerness from it, and an intense heat as its hand grazes yours. Follow, it simply says, and heads towards the bridge. As directed, you follow the creature and return to taking in your surroundings. The land seems desolate and dry, the heat radiating from everywhere and everything, and so far, everyone. You quickly search your memory again for anything that will give you a leg up in this scorched plain. Roll an Arcana check.
Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Dungeons & Dragons and the lore that surrounds them. Hey there, creatures, welcome to another episode of Encounter This. Before we actually get into this week's episode, we wanted to just say a couple of things. Firstly, that we mourn those who have unjustly lost their lives to this violence, and we stand in solidarity with those working to end racial injustice. Freeman and I are committed to helping lay the foundation for a future that is just and inclusive to everyone, and we are determined to help end this cycle of oppression and inequality by questioning harmful patterns in our own behavior as well as those around us. We want to encourage you to do the same, to listen, learn, and grow. After all, leveling up is what this show and what this game is all about. We're all in this together, and Black Lives Matter.
Amen to that.
So this week we're going to be talking to you about Azers. They're found in the Monster Manual on page 22. And as always, I am James, the soon-to-be illuminated kid, and fuck, I almost said your last name there.
I know, I think I knew it.
And with me, as always, is Freeman, the balls of brass Iced-In. I nailed that one, though.
I could feel the vowel coming.
Yeah. Well, I got it. I got us
Balls
there.
of Brass, that's me.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure who to give that nickname to at first, but I didn't have a second one, and so when I came up with the second one, it seemed more appropriate because I'm about to illuminate you on Azers.
Right. Yeah, these guys are cool. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, they're not a super deep or complicated creature, but they are interesting. I think they touch on a bit. They touch a bit on stuff we have not covered too much yet, and that's more elemental.
Right.
So a little peek ahead.
And they look fucking awesome.
They look really cool. Yeah, you can see. I've just posted to you
Except in second edition. That
Actually, I don't mind second edition one. It is missing an element. I think third edition is my favorite in the artwork.
Oh, yeah? I really like the fourth edition one.
I would say, like usual, fourth usually fails me on the art. I was never. It's well done art, but I don't like the style at all. In
Right.
It just doesn't. Do
I just
for
like
me
the
at all.
flaming cat of nine tails.
Yeah, I mean, those are pretty cool. Yeah.
Or Poi or whatever they are.
Well, these creatures, if you will, Azers, they dwell in a kingdom that sits on the border of the elemental planes of fire and earth. The kingdom is made of a series. What? Yeah.
to be clear, is that the elemental plane of Earth or like Earth?
No. So they reside on a border between them.
Okay.
Where neither of them can claim claim territory of their own. So
right.
In some way, based on the description, it does seem to specify there is a space between the planes.
Right, but is it the plane of fire and earth, or the plane of fire and the plane of earth?
Oh yeah, the plane of fire and the plane of earth.
Cool.
Yes, yeah, right between those two planes. This kingdom is actually a series of bronze fortresses on a long mountain range, or a range of mountains and volcanoes. Specifically. Just a quick direct quote from the Monster Manual. They reside beneath mountain peaks under volcanic calderas and amid rivers of magma. Azers extract gleaming metals and glittering gems from the earth.
So what is a caldera?
A caldera is like, it's one of the... I don't know the exact definition. I was looking at some images though earlier, just really quick, and they're like, when a dormant volcano forms forestry and like a lake and stuff inside.
What?
So it's like a big sort of crater.
Is that a real thing that happens?
Yeah. Dormant volcanoes absolutely.
Okay.
The largest, fun fact for you, the largest rodent unknown in the world, I don't know its name.
Capybara?
No, it's even larger than that.
Shut up.
Yeah, and it was thought to have been extinct for a long, long time, and it lives in a caldera of some kind. I remember watching a small documentary about a few years ago where they had to go up over the peak of the edge of this dormant volcano and go back into where all the flora and fauna were to find it.
Crazy.
And they did.
So we'll link some pictures to that then. They sound great.
Yeah, if I could sort out what it was again, for sure.
I don't mean the rodent. I mean the calderas.
No, definitely the rodent.
Oh, yeah? Right. So it's on my show notes list then.
It's perfect. Why wouldn't you want to see the world's largest rodent?
I mean, I want to see it. It just doesn't feel relevant to this.
Well, it's in the episode, so it's relevant
Perfect.
now.
All right.
Whether you like it or not.
Good luck, listeners. You're in for a long one, apparently.
Anyway, so Azers are specifically enemies of the Ifrit, or the Ifriti, which are the genies of the elemental plane of fire. And this is a part of the reason why they live on the edge, or the in-between border of the two planes. So long ago, they were once allies, and the Azers helped to create the famed City of Brass, aiding the Ifrit in crafting it into what is considered one of the most wondrous places in all of creation.
I love the City of Brass. I don't know if you know that, but it's like the mythology
know much
behind
it before I did all this. Yeah,
it's so cool.
And I ended up doing a little bit of extra research, of course, while doing this. However, once the work was finished in helping the Ifrit decided to try and enslave the Azers in order to protect the secrets behind the creation of this precious city of theirs.
How topical.
The Azers, yeah, right? The Azers managed to escape their grasp, and so far no all-out conflict or war has ever happened between them, but they remain bitter enemies, and the Azers believe the threat of revealing the secrets the Ifriti so desperately wanted to keep hidden is the only thing that keeps them at bay. So they do not really enter open conflict. There are occasional skirmishes. They're usually from salamander raiders that who serve the Ifriti or who are told to. find weak points and strike at the Azers. And the Azers rarely inflict or initiate conflict themselves, but they will go after an enemy that they see carrying gems and will often try to imprison them rather than kill them.
God, that's amazing.
Yeah, and you'll get to understand a little bit more why a little bit more. So I'm going to reword that. You get to understand why better in a little bit.
Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to that because none of this really like it's all like the outline of a puzzle, but I'm not seeing a whole picture here, and I'm really excited to see the whole picture.
Yeah. And there's not much in that detail of like that conflict, and even looking up the city of Brass, it didn't see much when it came to the Azers himself. This is very much Azer history,
right?
And
history is written by the winners.
Yeah, of course, yeah. There is one little excerpt that's in the Monster Manual that I like to read. It says, "Give me 100 Azer slaves, and I can forge an empire that would make the gods tremble. Araxes Al-Sakar, Ifriti Pasha."
Part of me wants to make a Donald Trump joke here, but I don't feel right.
It's worth noting that the Ifriti are lawful evil through and through, all of them.
Yeah,
they are not nice people. They're nasty creatures. And as far as the Azers, yeah.
I just had a quick question about that. Is Ifriti the people and Ifrit the race, or is Ifrit singular and Ifriti plural?
So yeah, that was a weird thing I came across. And most of the things I came across said Ifrit. Okay. And occasionally it says Ifriti, and I believe that's the pluralization, although it wasn't always the case in everything I was reading. The Ifrit are the fire genies. So genie is the creature. Ifrit is the elemental type of that creature, essentially.
Okay.
And so Azers basically used to work with them, alongside them, and for them, and help create the city of Brass. And then were bitterly betrayed because the Ifriti feared the secret of how this magnificent city was built would get out. And thus the Azers fled.
Cool.
And they are at a basic standstill as a result because the Ifriti do not want those secrets to go, so they do not openly attack for fear they would just give it away as a response.
Interesting. So like blackmailing the Ifrit.
Kinda, yeah. It's a very tenuous situation for sure.
Just a fiery Cold War.
Exactly. Now the Azers themselves are expert miners, master crafters, natives of the elemental plane of fire. They have the appearance and manner of a dwarf, but this is a facade, as they are actually beings of fire through and through. And it is evident in their flaming hair and beards and metallic-looking skin and glowing fiery eyes.
So these are fire elementals in a dwarf suit, like a metal dwarf suit.
Basically, yeah. They just look like a dwarf, but their body looks like it's made of metal, and their hair and eyes are just pure fire.
Fuck yes, more of that, please.
Yeah. They were created by the fire titans and the fire giants.
Cool.
Yeah, and who they once often served way in the past. And so there's two sort of histories in regards to that. Some say that this happened at a time when all dwarves were enslaved by giants and titans. And modern day dwarves that we know in sort of the material plane are the descendants of those who escaped that slavery long ago.
Really?
Azers are dwarves that remained and were eventually changed by exposure to the fire plane.
Crazy.
Yeah. But the other story is that this is just straight up never true. And Azers have always been elemental natives. And it's just sort of reinforces that their shape as a dwarf is just a facade. And mayhaps it was just of the design of the fire titans and giants. Maybe they modeled them after the dwarves themselves, but they were created by them. And these Azers, they themselves cannot reproduce. But rather they can craft another Azer.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's a really dense lore. I really dig that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It doesn't go on for forever, but it's really, really specific, or I guess in some cases quite vague over what I just covered. But
yeah, but for a creature I've literally never faced, like that's really intense. I'm down with that.
Yeah. Now, as far as the crafting another one, it's a very rare thing because it actually requires you to imbue your creation or imbue their creation with a piece of their own inner flame. is how it's described. And so, for obvious reasons, the Azer population is quite low. It's limited, and making them quite rare.
Okay.
And they will sculpt another Azer with unique physical characteristics, so they will differ in shape and size to a degree. But all of them radiate an intense heat that is known to burn anyone who gets close, and their weapons are highly conductive of that heat.
That's cool.
And will heat up and store that heat. Yeah,
that explains the flaming cat of Ninetales in the 4E art.
Seriously. Yeah. Now, as far as the city of Brass goes, I was looking at this a little bit. We'll cover just a small amount. I thought it was pretty cool that they helped build this magnificent thing. I didn't know much about it. It is a trade hub, despite being not on the material plane. Many creatures from all sorts of planes will cross through the city of Brass at some point, apparently. And they basically the city of Brass, it hovers in the air in the hottest areas of the plane of fire, and it sits in an enormous hemisphere, 40 miles or 64 kilometers across. And a curtain of beaten brass surrounds it, stretching for hundreds of miles. And this is where the city's namesake originates.
Right.
Yeah, and the hemisphere itself actually gives the city the ability to fly, albeit quite slowly. So aside from being like, city planners with an apparent knack for aesthetic and infrastructure, Azers are skilled artisans when it comes to jewels and gemstones, and place the value of these above all else.
What an interesting trait to give these.
Right. And that's where they will probably initiate that conflict if they see an enemy carrying gems. That's what they look forward to the most, is they want these jewels, they want gemstones, they want precious metals to craft. It is what they do, and so that holds value above everything else for them.
Okay, so they use the jewels and the gemstones in their crafting, not just for like, I fucking love rubies.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They'll dispatch groups out. They send groups out to seek out these materials, and it's said that their craftsmanship knows no equal at all. And they will occasionally be called to the material plane. They are elementals, remember. They can be called and summoned, and they are usually summoned for the purpose of crafting elaborate magic items or works of art.
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah.
They're not an overly threatening creature.
No.
Themselves, right? Not warmongering, not evil, not aggressive. But they have a very specific niche that they fit, and it is the crafting of magical items through the use of precious metals and rare materials.
Yeah, I mean, I'm digging the history for sure. I love that, like, above all else, they're elemental and they're still fit for elemental. So with like summoning elemental magic, do you think you could, if you roll a critical 1 on it or something, you get an Azer instead of an elemental? Like, is that?
Well, I didn't look up the rules around summoning an elemental. I believe there are.
I just mean
spells. I think just
jumping into
homebrew wise. Yeah, sure. I mean, when I read that, my mind jumped to something similar. I didn't really think about like rolling a 1 and that's what you get. I thought more of throwing this at your DM, like throwing somebody your DM doesn't expect him. Like, I'm gonna cast you're resting, say, for the night, and I'm gonna cast summon elemental, and your DM's gonna be like, what? Why? And you'd be like, because I want to summon an Azer and see if he can like repair the magic item that I just broke.
Yeah.
You'd be like, shit.
Okay, so it's like a downtime activity. You summon an Azer to help you out as a blacksmith or something.
As far as I know, with the spell, you can choose the elemental you summon, I think.
I think,
or if you can, then
comes from.
What's that? Sorry,
I think you can choose the plane that it comes from. I think sure. Rules is written. You just summon like a straight up elemental.
It could be the case, yeah. In that case, you might throw it at the DM and you're just like, hey, this is my purpose. Like, maybe can I try to put some effort into summoning a specific elemental for this purpose? And I think it'd be a really cool moment to be like, okay, yeah, let's see what we can figure out to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% on board with that. I just. I love that. I think that's great.
Yeah, super cool. A couple honorable mentions.
Oh, cool! I didn't expect this.
Well, not really. It's not really. They're kind of what's that word I always use?
Just regular
courtesy.
mentions?
They're courtesy mentions.
Okay, just regular mentions.
They're regular courtesy. Because I have almost nothing else on what I have written right here. There are 3 noted Azers on the Forgotten Realms wiki. There was Cripicolus, or Cripaculus. I don't know how to say that at all. He was the leader of the Everash tribe. There was Lakataki, who was the seneschal of the Everash tribe, and there was Amaimon, who was a legendary king known for his larger stature and physical prowess. Was bigger than and stronger than usual. That's literally all I've got.
Okay.
They I thought the Everash was kind of a cool name for the tribe, but there wasn't any extra detail on that.
Okay, you couldn't find anything on who the Everash tribe was or where they came from or anything.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
I didn't really see anything. I would imagine it would be getting to a deeper dive in one of the older books. It definitely came from an older book, I believe.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's like a specific Azer-centric adventure or City of Brass adventure that I don't know about. Because if there is, better believe I'm converting it.
Well, yeah. So I'm glad you said that because I think there's not going to be much on the reading list for this one. But the one thing I did notice was there was a second edition supplement called Secrets of the Lamp, and it it basically explores the elemental planes and specifically, I think, the City of Brass. And so there's like extra content that came from that book alone,
right?
Such as actually, I'll quickly reference your nickname for this week. In the City of Brass, there is a security force of some kind they're called the Illuminated, and they keep a very strict curfew on the city. And when night falls, everyone has to go home, and all the shops have to close, or you could like lose a hand, or be killed, or
That's
arrested.
Amazing. There's got to be a fucking book on the City of Brass out there, right? Like,
I'm sure there is, but the only one that I know for sure to definitely check out first would be the Secrets of the Lamp. It's called.
Okay. I mean,
that's where a lot of this extra, some of the extra lore came from. About half of this, or maybe 2/3, came from the Monster Manual. The rest came from the Forgotten Realms wiki, and that seemed to be the main referenced one. That, and I think the Monster Manual for 3.5.
Okay, because so as far as I know, and I'm ready to be corrected on any of this, the City of Brass is prevalent in Middle Eastern mythology, and it has a little bit to do with the Rakshasa as well.
Yeah, they are led by a Grand Sultan.
Right.
I can tell you that. So that's a very obvious sort of influence from.
And it's called Secrets of the Lamp. Like,
right. Yeah, totally. Some Aladdin shit.
Yeah, I mean, well, it may have even been written before Aladdin. No, Aladdin was the 60s, right? 90s. I don't know.
Well, Aladdin comes from a really old book.
Arabian Nights.
Called, Arabian Nights, 1,000 Arabian Nights or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I think is that not super old?
It is, yeah. Jason Weiser from Myths and Legends did a great suite on it. It's really good. Okay. I'll link to that in the show notes as well. Sweet. It's another fantastic podcast for this kind of stuff. And I think one of those episodes was actually on the City of Brass. So I'll try and find that one specifically.
Cool. Yeah, I thought the City of Brass in general was pretty damn nifty.
Yeah, I love all this interplanar shit, especially like Plane of Fire. Like when you say brass curtain, like I imagine like a literal, like a mosquito net of brass hanging over the city. Like no sun in, no moon. Like it just invokes my imagination. Like to the point where I'm thinking like, if there's no City of Brass book, like why the fuck aren't we writing it?
Right. Well, so I just pulled up the wiki again real quick because I knew there was something extra in there that I didn't really think I would put in. But since you're so interested in the proper setting, so it's all reference to that book, Secrets of the Lamp. But there's literally a breakdown of all of the security forces in the city. There's 3,000 elite fanatical Ifrit guards, 100,000 common Ifrit guards, 25,000 horse archers and lancers. Like the list goes on.
That's so good. Yeah, we're definitely linking to that one in the show notes. A colossal navy
of 18,000 individuals crewed the Sultan's personal fleet. It's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, we should probably get back to Azers. I imagine that's what people came here for. We hit the honorable mentions.
Yeah, there was a couple more mentions that are a little more modern. I guess I think they both come from. I think they're both from the Dungeon of the Mad Mage.
Okay.
So the Archmage Trobriand was able to summon 5 Azers at one time in order to help him work on his lair in Undermountain, known as Trobriand's Graveyard. I don't know much about that. I've actually lately we've seemed to have referenced Undermountain. I feel like more than usual, and it makes me want to play Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage.
I thought you were playing it.
No, I'm playing Dragon Heist, which is like the pseudo precursor to it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that one's like 1 to 5, and then Mad Mage goes from 5 to 20.
Well,
and that's like the proper dive into the Yawning Portal.
I'll tell you what. If they get us to $1,000 a month in Patreon, that will be our Patreon goal. We play Undermountain.
That was sick.
Yeah,
sold.
All right. So if we get to $1,000 on Patreon, I will run you and some people through an Undermountain.
Oh, that would be so cool. Because I've read this, and there's a couple other ones I've read in the past, and then there's another one here too. It was like the famous gnome named Zox Clamorsham, which is such a great name.
Perfect name. Yep.
Was later able to trick, I believe it was the same Azers that the Archmage had summoned in to help work on his lair in the Undermountain called Clamorsham's Palace. But they maintained like a friendly relationship with him. I didn't go too far in the wiki because I actually genuinely want to avoid spoilers for that one. I really would like to play it one day.
For sure.
But it just seemed pretty coal that the Azers were mentioned in there, and it just made me want to be like, I want to go layer by layer so bad.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Azers, they've got Displacer Beasts. Like, why aren't we playing this right now?
Seriously, why aren't we playing right now? Cut the podcast. Let's go play.
Stop here. Speaking of stopping here, I guess we should...
Speaking of break times, I have to cut very well. I have to. For those of you listening, after the edit of this episode, I didn't have my beer in front of me, so we had to take a break in between. We cut it, and I forgot what the segue was. So
it's going to be perfect. It's perfect. But you know what else is perfect? Blackmail.
It's gonna be great. Blackmail. To further ruin this moment, I don't have a Blackmail. I have a different Strange Fellows beer. It'll be the first time I think I've drinking something that wasn't Blackmail on one of these episodes, and I feel dirty.
It's fine.
Dirty.
It's fine. What are you drinking? Plug.
I'm drinking the Jongleur.
Oh, okay. Is it still a Strange Fellows?
Yeah, it's still the same guys. Still a delicious beer.
Delicious. The Blackmail of the summer. One could even say.
It's the Blackmail of the summer. In a nice Belgian wit style. I just needed something a little more refreshing today.
No, I get it.
And that's a lie. I actually just forgot to get the Blackmail. So,
lying to our listeners.
I'm a failure, and go ahead and stop listening to me, and I'll just let James take over the show.
You know what? It's still money in Strange Phil's pocket because somehow they're still not sponsoring us to do this, but it's okay. Well, we love them anyway. We're proud Vancouverites.
Yeah, we love Strange Fellows. Mad support for them, and I'm just going to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that the reason we don't have sponsorship yet is because of COVID-19.
Also, they've probably never heard of us.
Nope. It's definitely not that.
Right.
I've told the reps. They had a laugh.
Right.
Hopefully not at my expense.
Okay. Well, I'm still not tired of this bit yet, so.
Yeah. Never.
And thank you, listeners out there.
Yes.
You guys seem to be loyal as hell. Like it's impressive, and thank you for bearing with us while we're recording remotely through this COVID-19 stuff and while your world is on fire. And we hope those of you you get a little bit of joy from this. We don't want to distract you per se because we need to be listening to what's happening out there and be the best allies we can possibly be. But this whole show is about learning and loving and growing. So I guess what I'm saying is that I love you, listeners.
And I love you too, guys.
Oh my god.
It is really hard recording without face to face.
Yeah, there are no visual cues. Like it's tough, but it's still fun. I still enjoy being in front of a microphone talking to you. Speaking
of cues, mechanics.
Yep, I'm gonna let that go.
For the Acer. It's a segue. It's a poor one, but it's a segue. And here we are to the mechanics of the Acer. What based on that history, I guess I should say there is no real world lore for these guys. The closest I could find were fire giants from Norse mythology, but that's a whole different ballgame. So
yeah, we'll get up to tackling
CR
giants at some point.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. What CR did you imagine these creatures to be based on that history? So
based on the fact that I've never encountered or used these creatures, that would lead me to believe that they're a low CR because I use and encounter larger CR creatures. I don't really fuck with anything below 5. So I would guess 3, 4.
Even lower. Yeah, as far as stat blocks go and actual combat goes, these guys are pretty underwhelming. They're very, very simple.
It's really disappointing, but I guess some creatures have to be lower, right? It just feels like they all are.
Well, I think I was thinking about this.
Next episode, we're covering the Tesseract. Fuck it, like CR22. Like let's just do it.
You say Tesseract? It's Tarask. Tesseract's the one from Marvel.
Okay, so cut that before we get copyright struck.
We're not going to get copyrighted for that. We're fine. I'm leaving that in.
There's no way Marvel doesn't own the word Tesseract.
That's fine. Right. Here, you want something a little more risky? We had problems over the last week, guys. We were actually almost down to the wire on recording this episode, and thought we might actually have to temporarily do something a bit different format because a certain company that starts with a P.
No, fuck that. We're gonna call them out. It is our duty as podcasters to stand up for everything that we believe in. And so far, this episode, I believe in social isolation. I believe in Black Lives Matter, and I believe that Pure Later is the single worst shipping company on the face of the planet. I don't believe in those things in that order, obviously. I hope it's obviously.
Yeah. Right, but, yeah. Not an order of priority there.
God damn it, fuck Pure Later is what I'm saying.
Seriously.
love your neighbor, love your friends, listen to everybody, but do not use Pure Later.
Yeah, garbage. Absolute garbage.
Hot garbage.
Anyway, mechanics. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So going back, I was actually thinking about this today, and where we've kind of discussed it previously as well. A lot of the creatures we've covered has sort of accidentally been more. We've sort of agreed that they're better as NPCs or flavor characters, and rather than straight up combat encounter, sort of beasts. There's been a few that have definitely broken that mold, but I think by mistake, for the most part, we've thought, oh, these are really cool story moments. It's kind of a cool thing about I think the characters in general, or the creatures in general, in these games and 5e for sure, is that there's so many of them that you really can use them for such flavorful moments.
Well, that's the game, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Combat is just a one facet of it, but you're telling a story and having creatures like in D&D specifically, where they have a really rich history and mythos behind them, like that really helps to get to those story beats. Combat just happens to ensue is how I kind of look at it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, of course, depending on your players, some people want more combat than not. Some people want more political intrigue. Some people want a good balance.
Oh, you've been at my table.
Yeah,
you guys want blood all the time.
We really do. That group particularly.
Yeah, and I love it, but I'm still going to try and spin a story around that.
Of course, yeah. You just have to sort of lean the emphasis here and there based on who's at your table.
Exactly.
And so there is something very lovely about how all of these creatures tend to really offer an option for that story related stuff. And so far, I won't say they've let us down, but maybe it's just you and I as DMs, like we always search out that flavor thing more than the combat one first. And
I think sometimes
these creatures are just a little bit lacking in their combat expertise or flavor or variety, if you will.
I can safely say I've never picked a creature based on their abilities or whether or not I think it would beat you guys in a combat or provide a challenge. Yeah. I always pick a creature that's thematically appropriate, and I think that's how most DMs work. Every now and again, I want to be like, okay, there's a rock. You gonna go for it?
Right.
You think you can handle it? And I will throw it in the background every now and again, but most of the time it's thematically appropriate creatures, whether they're low CR or not.
Yeah. One of the last times we played, I thought it was really, really cool. I think it was the last big encounter when we were able to get together, and we fought a fire giant and hellhounds, and we were in an ancient dwarven forge, and I thought, oh, this is pretty awesome. And then I was doing this research of this, and I thought, oh man, Azer would have also been perfect for that, although much lower CR than appropriate, unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I've Azers were the original pick instead of Hellhounds, but I didn't want to portray the Fire Giants as slavers. Like that was a legitimate theory. Like that was a legitimate conscious decision that I made about my world. Is that Fire Giants weren't slavers.
Oh, cool! All right, that's awesome. And one thing is for sure, when the Fire Giant showed up, my brain immediately went to, oh shit, I don't know what CR that is. For the most part, I'm pretty good about like guesstimating, in the meta side of things. But that one was like, oh no, like I know there's a pretty wide range with the Fire Giants or with Giants in general, and I do not know where the Fire one lies. So I was a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
So it was an exciting comment for me. It was great.
Yeah, me too. I really thought you guys were all going to die there.
Yeah, well, we did pretty good.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah.
Well, yeah, eventually.
Well, once your warlock and your sorcerer realized they were immune to fire, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious, actually. You're always quite anxious about AC. These guys are CR2, and they have an AC of 17, which seems pretty high, I would say, for a level 2 encounter.
What is their HP, though?
Their HP is 39.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah. And that being said, it is natural armor and shield considered their AC. So their AC is technically only 15 on their own.
So yeah, I'm looking at the art, and they've got that little shield, and you drop that shield, it's down to 15. Like that's weak sauce, and all you got to do is pull a shield out of its hands, and that shouldn't be too difficult of a tactic if you can think about it. Like
And their one attack that's listed in the monster manual is Warhammer, so it is a versatile weapon. So there is a chance they drop that shield and swing with 2 hands and have a lower AC, but have a bit more impact.
Not in my world. But if I'm not mistaken, these guys are actually made of metal, right?
So it does not explicitly state that. It just says their bodies look metallic.
I thought it said
so
they were
kind of look like they're made of bronze and that sort of thing, and they are forged. So it stands to reason, but they don't specify it. I think it would be...
they're each crafted from bronze. Sorry.
Each crafted from bronze, okay.
Yeah.
So that begs a couple questions coming up, because if we just go over a couple of the stats, like they have a regular land speed, they are lawful neutral creatures, and they're elemental fire, of course. They have immunity to fire, immunity to poison, which is pretty standard, especially for fire-based things. Condition immunity, poison as well. They do have an extra boost to their con when it comes to saving throws. Otherwise, no extra skills or senses. But in 3rd edition, they were vulnerable to cold, and they had magic resistance. But otherwise, the immunities and resistances were the same, more or less across the board. Where applicable within each edition.
Yeah, that probably has to do with elemental.
More than likely, yes, for sure. Yeah. Now that you said that, to me, it begs the question: if they are made of metal, what sort of vulnerabilities would they have to thunder damage or sort of electrical attacks? So I know there are some spells in the game that
Shocking Grasp, for example.
Yeah, Shocking Grasp, for example. Obviously, heat metal it applies, but also doesn't apply. Because they are immune. But then there's also, I think there's one called Shatter. And if it affects like metal or rock, I think it does extra damage. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I would have to confirm that. I don't know offhand. I think
it's a thunder attack as opposed to a lightning.
I think Jess cast it once, but I don't remember its effects on anything other than glass or constructs. So technically these guys aren't a construct. So
No.
I think you could homebrew that at your table. I'd be more concerned to like cross-reference the 15 AC without the armor or without the shield to like the structural resistance of brass as defined by 5e. Like, does it have an AC of 15?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Like the material itself.
Yeah.
Of course, the ACs, it says natural armor. I would imagine they don't specify, but it still does slightly consider the dexterity when it comes to creatures for that
For
AC.
sure. And what is their dex? Do you have that in front of you?
It's only a +1.
Yeah, so I mean, that, brass is a pretty malleable metal. It's something that I work with on a regular basis. So, like, you could hit hit brass with a hammer. You as a regular human being could hit a brass disc with a hammer and bend it. Like it's
Right. Yeah.
super sharp, but pretty malleable. So this all looks good to me. It adds up.
Yeah, sure. Cool. That's awesome. I think maybe this is what comes to the dangerous thing. So they, talking about their abilities, there's a couple of basic ones. Living fire. They don't eat, drink, or sleep.
Okay, sweet. Yeah.
They have what's called illumination. So they just, no matter what, they shed bright light for 10 feet and dim light for an additional 10.
Don't need dark vision. Perfect.
So they're not sneaking up on much. And they heat their own weapons with their body, kind of like we specified earlier. So
cool.
they use a warhammer. So it's 1d8 one-handed plus 3 for damage, and then an additional 1d6 fire.
Yes, please. All right,
now,
these guys are starting to pack a punch.
Yeah, and now here's the other thing is that they have what's called heated body, which is also specified in their lore. And anyone who touches or hits them with a melee attack, and they are also within 5 feet of the Azer, they take 1d10 fire damage, which is pretty big for second level.
So is that... So, first of all, mathematically, that's that averages out to be about 5. So there's no modifiers on that, which is great. Second of all, is it an action to enact that? Like, is it a reaction or a standard action? Like that?
It's just if they are touched or hit with a melee attack, and the creature is like basically adjacent to them, they take that damage.
Do you know if that's consistent with fire elementals?
I don't know off the top of my head, no, but I would imagine there is something like that. Yeah. So the first thing that came to my mind with this mechanic was, it's only when they get touched. It's not when, as the lore specified, it was like, people will be burnt if they get too close. So it makes sense, but it's not an area of effect or like an aura, where if you're too close, you take fire damage. And I think
honestly, with that CR, it can't be an aura.
For sure, which is why I think there's, with that in mind, it would be probably pretty easy to raise the CR on these guys by allowing something like that to happen. If you're just
by
close.
A lot, for sure.
Right. If you're just close to them, or extending the radius out, if they're burning extra hot, or maybe there's a mechanic in the fight where they get overheated.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, it starts to affect anything within a certain vicinity, and that vicinity has grown, or maybe it continues to grow within that combat. It'd be really cool.
Wooden arrows burst into flames upon entry. Like, you could really fuck with that and really, really up that CR pretty intensely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I think you could pretty easily make this a CR6, CR7 creature.
Yeah. So I actually really enjoy the lore behind them, and I like how it's obviously reflected in the mechanics, and then those mechanics are easily increased for a pretty dramatic increase in the CR. It doesn't take much to really bump that up and make them quite dangerous.
No, not
imagine
at all.
Facing a couple of them at the same time, even.
Well, if you change heat body to an aura, you don't even have to mess with the HP or the AC. Like, he could still have 40. Sorry, they could still have 40 HP and an AC of 17 with that shield on. But if you can't get within 5 feet without taking,
right, yeah, and they're trying to get to melee for you, right?
Yeah.
If all they have is a melee weapon, they're getting in. That's
for sure. They're gonna chase you down.
Yeah.
So this could very quickly become a retreat or die creature, which is great.
Yeah. So how cool is that? We started the mechanics, be like, yeah, they're pretty simple, and we've already just come up with like, holy shit, these guys could be wicked.
Yeah, those abilities are phenomenal. I really dig that.
A little bit of tweaking, yeah.
Not only do I dig how good they are, I really appreciate how thematically consistent they are. Like it really is just a fire elemental burning inside of a brass body, like using it as a meat puppet or Iron Man's armor.
Right.
Like
this
is cool. I'm into this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, super wicked.
So where do they fall in your world, do you think? Like, are they the slave race for the Afriti, or what do you think?
Yeah, so in my world, no enslavement there. I had yet to flesh out the elemental planes, but they were going to be a very important part of the history. But having read, I barely remembered the story on these guys when I was doing the research for this episode, but some bits started coming back because I did actually use them for a very short piece in the campaign that I ran in Australia.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and it was to do with, I know I've touched on it before in the past, but there was a bit of a sort of time traveling element for these sort of background characters, and it was very much influencing the party's experience. And I basically had used them to as part of a really dramatic reading of the description of these two characters traveling deeper and deeper underground. And so these Azers were on the material plane, more or less in the Underdark, I suppose. And but not the Underdark. And they traveled and traveled and traveled through these winding underground roads that were old and crumbling, and it took them a long, long, long time. And one of the characters, who was this powerful sorcerer, was the one leading the way with purpose, and his apprentice of sorts had no idea why they were even there. And the sorcerer ended up finding these Azers and already seemed to know them, and they quickly agreed to craft a casing of sorts for this spell tome that he was carrying around. And there was a sort of secret in the background that the casing or the metal filigree of this tome was very important. It helped to craft a magic surrounding it to help contain what was in it. And I'm trying to remember it exactly. It's been a while, but that something was to do with a lich's phylactery.
Okay. I mean, regardless, it sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah, so it was like they showed, and I basically had I had a player that was trying to play, and he was going to be part of this time loop thing that was happening, and a character that came in and out of the party because he couldn't quite commit, and it ended up not really working out. So I ended up had written so much for the character and all these ideas to as a vehicle through that story. And at the very end, our very last session was a really, really, really long one before I came back to Canada, and I ended up sort of like retelling all of these moments in history that I had written for this character, and it turned out really good. People really enjoyed it, and that was a big part of it. Like, just deep down, boom, these fiery dwarves, and everyone's like, "What the hell is that?" And and they craft this casing for a book and walk away. And eventually, it was revealed what that book was, what it truly was, and the devastation that it wrought and whatnot. And it was really, really fun. So there's a tiny element to a bigger story, but they had certainly an impression from what I recall at the time.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean that sounds super deep and super fantastic.
Yeah. But you said you've never really used them, eh?
No, I haven't used them, but so one of the things that I wanted to accomplish with this campaign versus some of the other ones that I've written and run is I wanted it to be more fantastical. I wanted there to be more interplanar travel. Mm-hmm. So I actually have a pretty well-defined city of brass in my world that you guys can get to at some point if you want to. But Azers do exist, and they play a large role in that. Instead of just creating the curtain of the City of Brass, the City of Brass is literally a city hammered of brass made by the Azers.
Sure.
But it was made in tandem with Azers and Fire Elementals and Afridi and Fire Giant. And I think the Azers are like... they're friends to the city, but based on where they are now, they're kind of... almost extinct, I think, is the best way to put it, because so many of them have fallen in the crafting or in battle or what have you. I don't really have that worked out, but they're super rare. But if you guys ever go to the Plane of Fire, there will be a few of them floating around. They're almost an endangered species. But I actually did work it out, so they will be a playable race if one of you falls and in the Plane of Fire or whatever.
That would be super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have that kind of, I have the framework for that kind of built, kind of like the Astral Elves that Pascal's playing. So Azers are kind of a playable race, but obviously it hasn't been play tested or anything like that. But
potentially playable, yeah.
Potentially playable, yeah, with the right backstory. But I based on the way the campaign's going, if we ever get back to it, I don't think this is where you guys are going to end up. But when the next one starts up, you'll have the Astral Elves, you'll have the Azers, you'll have whatever else.
Should I find myself in a position of playing that, I would probably request to play a Warlock, simply because the newest Warlock archetype released is called the Genie.
Okay,
and
cool.
That is their patron is a genie, and you have to choose an element.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
To focus on, yeah. So I will probably just go super thematic with it, even if it's not it's even if it's like a bit of a stretch for your world, for example, like where I don't know where genies lie exactly, but it would be.
They exist. Again, they're pretty rare on the mortal plane, as they are in. I imagine everybody
in real life.
Plane. I was going to say in real life, but but you guys have fought a DAO. You've not in this campaign, but in one of the one shots I did with the Thieves Guild. You guys did fight a DAO. I don't think you ever figured out what it was. So they exist, but they can be pulled to the mortal plane from their elemental homes, but they don't naturally exist in the mortal plane.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So, cool. I have a little something up my sleeve for Azers, but it's not crazy fleshed out. I like the idea of this being a playable race, but play it like a barbarian, so you just don't get an armor bonus. Like there's no armor that exists that can fit you, and even if you forged it, like what is the point of wearing it over your brass skin? So you just have a standard AC of. Cool. 15 or whatever.
You don't see much of natural armor in playable races.
And I think you should see a little bit more. Like I think the Dragonborn should have a natural armor, or like maybe an AC dampening effect, like in the Star Wars games. Like there's a soak value, so maybe that's what it is instead of whatever. But
sure.
But once you crack an Azer,
the only race off the top of my head that I know has a natural armor is the Turtle. They can't wear armor,
as far as I know, still isn't an official race.
It was a supplement race for a particular module, I believe. So, it's on D&D Beyond. I think it was officially licensed by Wizards, if not created, but I'm not sure.
But so is the Vampire Hunter, and as far as my games go, if it hasn't been published in a book, it doesn't count. And I'm prepared to be corrected. Maybe the Turtle is published in a book, like maybe it's in the Tomb of Annihilation or whatever.
Yeah, that line's getting thinner and thinner because. The most recent supplement, as of this recording, is a Magic the Gathering supplement, and it adds new archetypes for classes, and it adds a couple new races as well. Satyr being one of them, and Leonin, so the lion kind of creatures.
Is that the Theros one?
Yeah, the Mythic Odysseys of Theros. Yeah,
but we don't play in Theros. We play in Forgotten Realms analog.
For sure, yeah.
So I do have those lines pretty firmly drawn for my campaign. But
sure, yeah. By all means, for your own world, yeah, of course, yeah. But when it comes to what is it official content released by Wizards? Like that's
As long as it's not Unearthed Arcana, it's technically official content. Right. But whether or not it exists in my world, I guess I should find a different way of describing it.
Yeah, sure, fair enough.
Anything published in a Forgotten Realms supplement is a okie dokie in my world. And if the Turtle was published in Tomb of Annihilation or in Errata or whatever, like technically that would count.
Right.
But
currently, I'm playing an Artificer in my friend's campaign, but his world is currently extremely low magic. Right. So I am the only non-martial class in a group of 7 players.
That's so many players.
It is so many players. It gets a little hairy sometimes. I tell you, he's a really good DM, and he does his best to balance it. And everyone's quite patient when it comes to sometimes you just gotta wait to take your turn. And the way he's directing the story is he's focusing on certain characters, and then it will shift to other ones for a little while, and then it will shift another way again. So he's got a very long term idea in mind, of course. But he's also playing. It's a low magic, but it's a little more features. It's bordering on steampunk, or rather, there's airships and there's an element that is extremely light, essentially, that can be used for elevating. I think in some cases even bits of land, like islands and stuff, to float in the air. And but my class as the Artificer, it's sort of justified in the world, and I think it's kind of built in the class, but not so as explicitly. But it is. I basically have such a incredible grasp on mathematics and physics that I can recreate magic, even though magic doesn't really truly exist in the world anymore. Gotcha. And that's sort of how we function. That so it's pretty cool to have those borders on your world and and those limits, and then find a way to justify something that shouldn't be there, and it can be a good challenge. Sometimes you just gotta drop the hammer and say nope, but sometimes it's a really fun thing to do, to really figure out how does that fit, how could it possibly fit.
Those are some of my favorite exercises.
Yeah, really, really cool.
Okay, you got anything else for Azers?
That's it for me.
Actually, before we go, I'd like to give a big shout out to Patreon supporter Peace, Joy, and Pancakes. She corrected us on Welshbog.
Yeah.
Do you remember what episode that was from? Welshbog? It was from...
I think shit, what was it?
Cambians, right?
Veshelbalg. Veshelkind.
Right.
That would have been from Cambians, because it was
Right.
to do with changeling is the sort of translation in that case.
So we've been informed that Veshelbalg is no longer passé, and that it should be Veshelkind.
Veshelkind. Is that what... No,
Veshelkind is used only
I think
when
it was the other way around, actually.
switching.
I think Veshelkind was the one we used. That's what I recall.
Okay. I mean, I'm looking at her post right now, and it says, because no one uses the word balg anymore.
Oh, well, then I'm wrong.
Yeah. Anyway.
I think it turned out to be just an archaic version. The one that I used, or the one we had talked about, because it was the reference we were using was quite old at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
And she said that the term is now this, which meant what exactly again?
Oh, Chris.
I'm trying to find it here now.
Just closed it out. Veshelkind is used when the child is switching between two houses of their divorced parents.
Oh, okay. Crazy.
Whereas balg means a newborn baby that still drinks milk. It sounds like that's an insult.
A newborn or baby that still drinks milk specifically. Okay. Weird. Yeah. Well, Peace, Joy, Pancakes, I think, I could be wrong, I haven't asked her, but I think this is Selena Berner, who's one of our Patreons. I think that's her name.
Right, I didn't want to drop her name. But,
Yeah, well, I've dropped it.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
There it is.
Well, thank you for that correction, and thank all of you for listening. For those of you who don't know, we have a private Discord for our Patreons. Anytime you donate any amount of money via Patreon, you get access to it. You can pretty much get a hold of Freeman or I at any time, day or night. I slide in there most nights. I'm always down for a voice chat, and Freeman's in there most days. So we respond to your messages the best we can, but obviously we still things and episodes and
Yeah.
Anyway,
we'll get to you. Yeah.
and for
always good to have extra
$5,
conversation.
absolutely. And we appreciate the corrections as well. So if you want to correct us, you can email us at info@encounterthis.ca or hit us up on Twitter at encounterpod. We have a Facebook page that we glance at sometimes at facebook.com/encounterthis. If you want a little bit more than access to our private Discord, you can find us at patreon.com/encounterthispod. For $5, you get a handwritten letter and access to our show notes. For $10, you can suggest a creature, like 2 weeks ago when Boxcar Bakes on Instagram suggested the Nothic, which we got a lot of positive reviews on, which is fantastic. So if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please rate, review, and I guess you're already subscribed, so don't worry about that. But
and don't hit unsubscribe.
Definitely don't do that.
That's probably the key. Yeah, just don't do it. Don't even hover the finger.
Yeah, exactly. If you've got any extra cash loot this month, even take that $5 or $10 you're going to throw to our Patreon, throw it to a local charity who's helping support the racial injustice that's out there. And then, tweet at us or email us which charity you chose and why you chose it, and then we'll give you a retweet or give you some sort of ups and help get that message back out to the world.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening there, friends.
Thank you, creatures, and stay hot, I guess.
Does that even mean?
I don't know, man.